Hey everybody, HMV here. Playing more Kerbal Space Program, and the boys are ready to come home. The mission control has not told them yet, but I do not think we have enough Delta V to actually get home. Oh well, we're still going to launch. We are going to go towards the 90 once we get up to about 20 meters per second. Maybe about 50 meters per second. Actually, you know what? Let's try it. Let's give the gravity turn mod a shot. Let's try to get up to a height of 80,000. And we'll leave everything else the same. And in 3, 2, 1, launch. Don't know how well the gravity turn mod's gonna do here. It's already throttled down, which is probably good because we have a very poorly set ship here. But I still feel like we should be going all out. I think it's the 40 seconds, isn't it? I feel like we're wasting fuel. Also, I repacked all the chutes again, so if this does fail, I'm going to rely on the parachutes to get them back down. And if that fails, then they're dead. Okay, just had to abort because this is failing. Actually, this is probably too much. Except, of course, we're aiming terribly. Oh my. Yeah, I'm going to thrust limit these guys up to 75-ish. Too many things going on at the same time. Flip these guys around. Problem is I have two different engines thrust limited down. Yeah, these are pushing too much, so I think I'm going to bring these guys up to 100%. There we go, that's better. Okay, now these guys are pushing too much, so let's go ahead and thrust limit them down again. We're also almost out of fuel. I think I'm not going to bother. We've got 8 meters per second left. Okay, I'm not even going to bother trying. I have officially given up. So we're hitting the chutes. We're going to time warp ourselves back down, and we're gonna let the chips fall as they may, and by the chips I mean Daniel, Michael, and Francois. We're going to let the Kerbonauts fall as they may. And then not going to bother saving you guys. Sorry, you did your job. We are going to send the Jool ship to Jool today, though, and find the last 3 anomalies. And then next episode, I'll send an actual ship up there to get them. I didn't actually expect to need the parachutes here. I tested this craft on Kerbin, and it can actually land on Kerbin. Apparently only one chute is set to go at this altitude. But it is enough to make it slow enough so all the rest of the chutes will be okay. And we're going to start getting lots of chutes now. I just realized I left the computer on, so we have no electric charge. It looks, though, that we're going to hit at about 9.5 meters per second on the nose. And nothing exploded so far. And in theory, this thing can still drive because it's got fully functional wheels. As soon as the sun rises, he'll have battery power. So It's not a dead craft by any means, but it's basically dead. But let's not dwell on our mistakes. We've got the Joule Fiver out here in super high orbit of Sun. Look how far away Sun is. And it seems like at some point I totally missed a maneuver node. Makes me want to try to fix that right now because I had a maneuver node on here, but it was in the past, and it showed me a really nice encounter. So let's see if we can actually make a maneuver node here that does somewhat similar to what I wanted, which is something along these lines, only not quite so much of a death jump here. I'm pretty sure the anomalies are around Vol, Tylo, and Bop. Because Bop's got the Kraken, Vol's got the Volhenge, and Tylo has apparently a cave that I've never seen before. So let's try to tweak this so we get out to Bop and into Vol, if that is possible. That is a crash into Lathe, which is no good. It's actually an interesting idea to go down to Lathe, but I don't think we want to do that. And these are all killing velocity. They're also crashing into Tylo. Yes, if we don't crash into Tylo this way, we get a crazy orbit. So that's no good. We do need to go up this way, so we don't crash into Tylo on the other side. And that's the best we can do. It's a terrible orbit as far as this is concerned, but we can fix that with a little bit of north-south. You can kind of get an orbit that is somewhat similar to Bop. Let's actually try to nail that. And then a little bit of radial. Yes, if we do it anymore, we're going to get a lathe encounter. So I think we have to leave it like this. Unless the lathe encounter... Nope, lathe encounter screws us up. And if we go past the lathe encounter... Actually, there you go. Boom. I think that's a good shot right there. We have inter-Joule sphere of influence, which is never a bad thing. Solar panels tilted as good to the sun as we can get them. We need as much electric charge from that far away sun as we can get. Let's also turn on precise maneuvers here with a caps lock, and let's go Z. Thrust limit this guy down. For the last dozen decimeters per second here. Being as precise as our tools will allow us to be here. It's cool that the HUD is more precise than the nav ball. Yeah, the burn delta V says it's 0.4, 0.3, 0.2, 0.1. Zero point zero. Delete this, and yeah, we nailed it. So all we got to do now is get into Tylo sphere of influence, swing around Joule, and then get up here. And then here we need to keep burning up. We definitely don't want this other Tylo encounter. Kind of sucks that we have this residence with Tylo. There we go. Oh, and look at that. We've got this encounter right here. Bam! 2420. Is that seriously? No, it's only 500. So this is wrong because it doesn't understand the encounters. I was thinking 2420 seems way more than it should be. So this is a 500 meter per second burn, and we actually got the 2420. But yeah, we're not even going to use up that one tank, so we're good. Here it comes. Okay, double check our trajectories. We're still looking really good. Let's realize we haven't gotten this. We forgot to turn this back on. Let's go ahead and transmit. I don't remember what our electric charge looks like, but it looks pretty good. And yep, we can send an entire bevy of experiments, which is nice, and still have 800 or so charge left. So hopefully we'll get low over Tylo here. Don't know if that's true or not. That shadow on Joule from Lathe, I assume. Yep. Yep, we're still not low over Tylo, so that's it. That's it for the Tylo science. Let's go ahead and get out of Tylo sphere of influence here. Okay, then we'll get the full range of Joule science experiments, which we just know we can send willy-nilly. Swinging close to, but not into the sphere of influence of Lathe, I hope. If we are, then we're in trouble. Trouble's a strong word. Probably could have combined this with a plane change, now that I'm looking at it. That would have been pretty smart, but... And all we got to do is get into orbit. 247, that's cheap. I'm going to start a little early because I need to toss that fuel tank aside. Not that it matters that much, but... Okay, we don't need this. Let's go ahead and reset the ones that won't transmit for any data, which is all of them. Yeah, this is good enough. We don't need to get a better orbit than this. Yeah, nothing will be sending us retrograde. So I guess this was a bad idea. Surprise, surprise, I had a bad idea. But you know what? If we just go 250, we'll say, just to get out. We actually want to wait till we're over here, which is actually about there. And why is it doing that? Let's change the time. If we change it so that we're saving some of our meters per second here, I think that's a smart way to do it. And then you can actually add a bit of a normal into here. And then get back into roughly Tylo's orbit with this one, and then we'll be able to get an orbit around Tylo. We also need to check out the Space Center, because we should have an anomaly surveyor contract to investigate something odd on BOP. Let's go ahead and accept that. Yeah, we are getting almost no help from Oberth being this high up, but we're at BOP, so we wouldn't be getting much anyway, so why bother trying? But you got to know, these are the kind of burns we're looking at here. 500 to leave BOP and get to Tylo. So it's probably another 500 to leave Tylo and get to BOP. But that's just an encounter. That's not a going to orbit. Getting into orbit around BOP was around 300. Things like that. Those are things I need to pay attention to here as we're going. Go and delete this. And I guess we'll burn down a little bit farther. There you go. Set Tylo as our target. This is bringing them closer. There we go. There's a Tylo encounter, as crazy as it looks. Let's, I don't want to auto-warp. I want to focus on Tylo. That's actually awesome. Yeah, so see, this burn will basically get us into a free orbit of Tylo. So let's go ahead and do this. Love that dance of the moons as you swing around them all. Love how the stars blink in and out. I don't know if you can get that on YouTube, but the stars actually get dimmer because the sun is in view, and then it gets blotted out by Tylo, and suddenly you can see more stars. That's a scatterer thing, by the way. We should now be in orbit of Tylo. We have entered orbit of Tylo, as I said. Okay, now we want to leave Tylo retrograde, which means kind of this way-ish. We want to get down to Vol, which is basically impossible to not do by leaving Tylo. In fact, so much that I think we're going to try to leave Tylo. No, if we do it, yeah, we have to do it this way to get down to Vol. But we're going to be tilted crazily, which kind of sucks. That works. But yeah, if we go at all, we're gonna be at Lathes for influence. So we might want to try to get down to Lathe and then slow down a little bit using Lathe, using a gravity assist from Lathe to get an orbit from Lathe to Vol, which will basically, I mean, it's going to be basically free anyway. So it's probably not that big of a deal. A little bit late on the burn, shouldn't be a big deal. Again, we're not getting any help from Oberth. There we go. Now we're actually really high above. Let's just add a maneuver node here and see what our next encounter is. It's like, yeah, our next encounter is with Lathe, and it's in multiple orbits. 28 days. I don't know if I want to wait that long. Yeah, see, if I were to burn like this, super duper expensive. Yeah, that's ridiculously expensive, so that would be dumb. But if I burn here, which is the next orbit, right? And we just burn enough prograde. I mean, that's tantalizing right there. Enough prograde that a radial here, or sorry, a normal here. It's 56 plus a couple hundred. It's not ideal, but you know what? It'll get the job done. And then we'll get our contracts, and we'll know for a fact that those are the planets we got to land on, and then we'll figure it out from there. It's a quick little burn here. Might as well be sure of it. This guy's so much more agile in one direction than the other. It's kind of hard to turn him sometimes. There we go. And then here, we can actually snap this at our, will be the ascending node, just so it's perfect. And we'll only do enough to get an encounter with Vol. Watching for our orbit thing to freak out. There we go. Now let's focus on Vol. And then to get into orbit, 903. Now if we burn more, that's not actually getting us any more. So let's see how much cheaper it is here. 829. So yeah, we probably spent about 70 meters per second to save about 70 meters per second. So what are you going to do? Get a lot of world first, which is nice. This is obviously going to be the hardest part of the mission. Especially because I probably want to do Tylo last, unless we just leave its orbiter. So maybe we want to do Tylo first. Okay, we are in orbit of Vol. Oh, I forgot to go. Yeah. Geological formation on Tylo, let's accept that. And strange structures on Vol, let's accept that. And everything has been either found or to be found. So we are ready to try something crazy. We need to know two things. We need to know why this thing keeps trying to transmit data. We also need to know what we're talking about as far as meters per second to get to this guy. So let's leave vol. Yeah, see, forward is bad, obviously. That's already 1,000 meters per second. That's more than we have. But let's go ahead and do it and see what it's going to take here. In order to come in contact with this unknown thing, it's going to take us about $1,000 to leave vol and about $2,000 to actually get into encounter with it. So we're going to need $3,000 when we leave vol. That's what we're talking about. And that's just what it has to be. Now, obviously, this is not going to kill our ship. The other thing of this ship is I want to get low over Joule Science. And I don't know if we're going to get it. So let's try to get that encounter back with Lathe that we saw earlier. There we go. See, that's perfect. And actually, something like this could save us some meters per second as well. But I think we're just going to do this burn here. What is it? A 30-second burn. Yeah, this is fine. Yeah, between Tylo and Lathe, you can save a lot of meters per second if you're willing to spend the time. And with this mission, I'm not willing to spend the time because we're just throwing this stuff away anyway. But with the other mission, yeah, I'll be willing to spend the time. Okay, we should at least have that encounter. Yeah, that's perfect. We have an encounter with Lathe that puts us into a pretty bad orbit, to be honest. But that's all. All we want to do here now is we want to slow down just enough. No, we want to speed up just enough to get that. That's going to leave us 100 meters per second. I wonder if we could actually do it from here. Let's hit F5 because we're trying stuff. If I accelerate, yeah, that's cheaper. That's much cheaper than doing it at Lathe. Although that's the end of it right there. So yeah. And ideally, we'll also get low Joule Science here and transmit it all off. Maybe we can unlock 1 or 2 more tech nodes. Actually going to try to transmit all data from the thing here. Because, yeah, some things didn't transmit, which is fine. And actually, I don't think we've been in Lathe's Sphere of Influence yet, so we're going to get another bevy of experiments, which is always nice. I'm using the HUD to cheat a little bit here. Grabbing science over the shores and apparently the dunes. We're just getting this down anyway, which is right there. Okay, and then we're going to add a maneuver here. Ideally, we're going to try to actually get in the Sphere of Influence of this thing. That's basically what I want to do. I want to get fuzzy photographs of this thing from my ship here. Oh, and we are in space near Joule, which is what I was hoping we would be. Let's go ahead and make sure we're edge onto the sun. We are. Get all this data transmitted. Okay, 95, 69, 30, 8.5. We know that that's about the best we can expect. So now out here, if we do a very small prograde or retrograde burn, yeah, I just can't. Oh, wait, 4.3. Stop asking me to add a maneuver over there. Just stop it. 4.0, 3.8, 3.4. There we go. 1.4. And then somewhere around here we can tweak it to get even better. That'll be the third maneuver. Okay. Thing is, we gotta hit this as close as possible. There we go. There's one. Next maneuver node, let's go ahead and change the time just a little bit to make sure everything's still good. It is. Our encounter is still less than 2 kilometers. That's all we got to do is we got to get it within 2 kilometers so we can look at it. Perfect. And then now we're just going to warp to this maneuver node. Actually, let's delete this maneuver node. Instead, let's warp to here. Our target is there, and there's that. So let's go into locked mode. Let's aim ourselves. Okay, and I'm looking at this here. The target is going to be at 1.6 kilometers in 73 seconds. I want to get that down ideally to 0.0. If we crash into it, we crash into it. Okay, less than 100 meters. And it's a thing we can see. Where is Jewel? There's Jewel. There's our target. No, that's anti-target. There's our target. There's Jewel. Oh my. What is it? This little probe's taking fuzzy photos of something that it's going to hit. Awesome. We have no reaction wheels. We can't actually stop rotating. We can at least do... there we go. That's hilarious. We got more experiments, but we can't send them or anything. But there you go. We have encountered the object. It imparted a bit of its velocity on us, but we are now a useless object floating in space, leaving our solar panels and everything to who knows what. Did we destroy the monolith? I hope we didn't. If we destroyed the monolith, we're in trouble. But let's head back to the Space Center. But anyway, I hope we didn't destroy the monolith. That would be a terrible, terrible way to end the series. Yeah, we still have the contract, so I'm going to assume we still have the monolith. I hope you enjoyed watching this. We have 1,400 science. Holy cow. I definitely enjoyed playing it. I'm HMV, and I will, as always, talk at you later.